What's going on, people? Welcome back to the show. This is Awesome Hardware, episode 144. This is a tech news show that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time right here on twitch.tv/awesomehardware. We also stream the show in its entirety to our respective YouTube channels into two halves. Today...
You just contradicted yourself.
Oh, shit.
We stream it in entirety, in its entirety in two halves.
It's entirely in half.
Its entirety is on Twitch.
Two half.
Sorry, I derailed you there.
Entirety, yes. You
had
you're
a
totally
steam
right.
going.
I did. You know, they would have never noticed. They would have never noticed had you not pointed it out,
Sorry.
Paul. Now the ebb and flow and the energy of the show is off, and it's going to be a disaster.
But you know what?
Even more than it usually is.
I wanted to get that out of the way so that the rest of the show could be awesome.
That's right. Always start on a bad note is what we've learned today. Take that home with you guys. But this is a fun show. It's pretty casual and relaxed. We like to have a beer or three on the show. If you're of legal drinking age, feel free to join us.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly, of course. Drink from your homes so you don't have to drive anywhere.
Drink from your heart.
And drink from your heart. Drink from your heart and not your head. Listen to what your heart wants to drink. Okay, I'm just gonna stop there. And what else? What else should I say about this show? We like to have fun. Occasionally, we'll have a potty mouth and we'll slip a couple curse words in there. So if you have sensitive hearing or little ones around, make sure that you adjust your settings accordingly. Additionally, we sell stuff on our stores so that we can generate a living and continue doing what we do. If you would like to help in that cause, feel free to buy something from either of our stores. Mine's bitwit.tech/store.
Look at all this stuff.
Where I'm selling hoodies, there's women's shirts and more hoodies and shirts and glasses. The large 20-ounce glasses can fill lots of beer.
Gird your loins.
They are very nice glasses, actually.
Not with the glasses.
I finally got some for my studio.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So we can use them on the next episode. Finally, we don't have to resort to those stupid glass little mugs that Heather got.
Did they show up because you proactively contacted John, or did he actually just catch us talking on the show about like, wow, we should really ask John for
If there's anyone ever proactive when it comes to this stuff, it's always John.
Okay.
So he apparently saw that part at least of the show and just took it upon himself without saying anything to send me the glasses. I love you, John. So yes, go ahead and buy stuff from my store.
John handles both of our stores. My store is paulshardware.net, where you can also buy things. They all come from the same place.
Yes.
If you order from both of us at the same time, it usually ships together.
Indeed.
And if you buy stuff during the show, we'll give you a shout out at the end of each half. We'll shout your name and Johnson. And
you'll get Johnson.
You'll feel warm and fuzzy inside.
You could get Johnson by 2 grown men tonight. Just keep that in mind, folks. So
show's getting better every minute.
It is. That's how we work. That's how we operate.
Shout out to Cell Processing, our moderator.
So
he's in chat, being his own damn self.
Yeah. Let's move on to let's get on with the show.
Yeah.
With our first segment, I thought I would switch things up once again and start with the Pimp My PC, where we take a look at all the submissions you guys have submitted. That's why they are submissions of your own systems, and you guys are. These are every submission that you see here, folks, is just a cry for help. People are in need, and we're gonna help them. We're gonna give them what they need.
Yep.
By yelling at them and telling them what they did wrong. So first off, we have Nilus.
Nilus
with a Z370E motherboard from Asus. It's an Asus ROG board with an i7-8700K, an NZXT Kraken X62, ROG Strix 1080 Ti. Very, very nice.
Hey.
G-Skill, Trident Z, and all that good stuff.
Sorry, were you reading that?
Oh, no, that's fine. The rest of the specs don't matter. We already covered CPU, GPU. But let's see. Okay, a Dark Base Pro 900. It's a very nice case from Be Quiet. It was the official Hardware Canucks Case of the Year for 2016, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's
gosh darn it.
A nice feather in their cap.
Yeah, right?
I was like, what's the euphemism for good? Okay.
Yeah, right. So, let's see.
All right.
If we're speaking honestly here, the first thing that stands out to me is
the camera work. Camera work leaves something to be desired.
Photography.
It's a little washed out here.
Yes.
Here we got a flash going on.
Yeah, you don't want to use flash.
Which is reflecting across a few parts of the motherboard.
Strive for natural lighting in your images.
Which makes it seem very bright. Now, here I feel like everything's blue. Is that just is it a rainbow and he just caught the picture during the blue?
Where's blue?
All the LEDs are blue.
Oh, you're right.
The LEDs on the motherboard, the Kraken, the memory, and the graphics card.
It's either a coincidence, like you said, he just happened to take it during some weird strobing cycle, or he just likes blue LEDs, which, I mean, why not orange?
Now
Because you already have orange grommets.
It does
in the
require
case.
2 separate software suites to control these. You need the CAM software for the Kraken, and you can control everything else with the ASUS software.
True.
So he would have had to sync those some way. So maybe he just decided to go with all blue for that reason.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I mean, whatever floats your boat. I would like to see a more
Yeah, I don't know.
cohesive
It's not.
scheme.
Oh wait, here's another picture with.
And now it's yellow and blue. Yellow, blue, and orange.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it were up to me, I would keep it either like orange LEDs to match, because there's definitely a prominent amount of orange in your case itself.
Yeah, it's the accent color.
So I think that would look really nice, just to have it sort of like thematic. But, you know, if you want to switch things up, that's fine. If you like it, if you like that color combo, I'm not going to fault you for it. But apart from the lighting, I don't think the power supply sticker is doing much for you.
Yeah.
It just looks a little...
It's red too, the text on that, so that would clean up your color scheme a little bit. And
it's glossy.
The one on top, it's just a bunch of text on there, so pulling that off might be good. Now your cable management, I definitely approve of. It's very clean. Everything's tight in there. You don't have any extra loose thingy dangles
Nice and tight.
hanging around there. So well done there. I guess it's just maybe this is just the pictures. I feel like with the quality of the hardware in here, it's not like blowing me away, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you got a solid build there. I feel like maybe just some different pictures, do some glamour shots, and then maybe fix up your LEDs so you catch them at the right time.
Right.
Or I don't know. It's hard to do orange with LEDs.
Yeah.
That might be an option for you.
Could be
But
finicky.
thank you, Nilus, for
Thanks,
sending
man.
that over.
Next up, we've got Logan.
Logan Barber.
Logan with an i5 6600K at 4.5 gigahertz, a Cooler Master Liquid Light 120, a GTX 1070 Ti Duke. I believe that's from MSI. And we have an MSI Gaming Pro Carbon Z170A motherboard with 16 gigs of HyperX DDR4, 2444 speed. All right. Is that Cooler Master logo upside down? I can't tell.
Nope, it's right side up.
Okay, it's right side up, which is great.
Hey, the cable management shot. We don't always see that.
Cable MGMT right
Thanks
there.
for including it. Looks just fine to me.
Fine, as long as the side panel gets on there. Cable management on this side, however, could maybe be a little bit neater. I see a couple cables dangling around that are kind of stretched in a little bit longer than they might need to, like a fan cable at the top right of your motherboard. Some of the cables that are
here.
Yeah, that just looks like it's reaching, right? I mean, it could have gone through that grommet, grommet.
There's a couple cables coming over here for the I guess these are front fans, maybe the AIO.
Right. It just looks like it's stretching over, you know, trying to jump the canyon.
Everywhere else looks pretty tight though.
Is that a cable underneath the graphics card? What is like coming from the chipset?
He has a sound card or some other riser card going on.
Oh, that he's wired underneath his GPU. Okay.
Actually, that's most likely a sound card because that's probably the HD audio right there.
Yeah.
HD audio cables are notorious for allowing interference and being crappy. I would be somewhat curious if you actually use your front panel audio very often or your front panel mic headphone jacks.
Right.
But honestly, it's not. I mean, I didn't notice it at first.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. I also like here's a nice one where we got the rear view here, but we don't have a picture with the side panel on because that's what I'd be kind of curious to see is what's covered up here. I would be somewhat inclined to like you got some LEDs showing in the corners here, but I'm pretty sure that's probably not visible when the side panel's on. It's a Zalman case,
so it's not a full window.
I've never met a Zalman case that I liked.
Yeah,
but this one just from the internals doesn't look terrible.
The power supply basement at least.
It's a solid build though. You know, you got a nice choice of hardware here, and it's a very nice gaming PC. So
yeah,
here you go. There. I don't know. I don't have any immediate suggestions for improving things other than a couple of little cable issues that Kyle mentioned.
Yeah. But, I'm pretty much the same.
Okay.
Looks good.
Good job, Logan.
Thanks,
Thank you for your submission.
Kaito with a AMD Ryzen 5 1600. MSI X370 Gaming Plus motherboard, a Team T-Force Vulkan DDR4 2666. He's got 8 gigs of that. Gigabyte GTX 1060, 3 gigabyte WinForce D5, and he says he's planning to buy a 250 gigabyte 960 Evo M.2 SSD and sleeve the power supply cables and some RGB. I'm glad you mentioned that thing about the power supply cables because that was the first thing I would have pointed out. You know, the ketchup somehow matches here because you do have red accents on your motherboard, but the mustard, however, is not quite as fortunate.
There's a purple in there too.
There's a perps. Yeah, not much can be done about the perps. So I think the system looks pretty good overall. It does look like you have some LED fans at the front of your case, which, you know, from the outside, you did give us one external pic of your system all lit up and stuff. It looks really nice, actually. And with the side panel on, you probably can't really see those front fans anyway. Also, really nice cable management on the back for, like, a budget case. Like, whoa. Overachiever over here. And, yeah, I think once you sleeve those cables, you're going to be in really good shape. You know, it's a pretty simple build, so there's not a lot that we can critique here, and looks like you've routed everything properly, as far as I can tell.
I want to give a shout-out to the little, like... This is, like, carefully routed... yellow cables back here, right?
I know.
Like,
yeah,
it's kind of symmetrical, whatever. Like, I don't know.
It's all like everything here was done with purpose.
Yeah,
like everything's so purposeful.
There's intention.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, it seems like you've already got a pretty good idea of what you want to do next. You know, power supply sleeve cables would obviously be very nice, and you got a red and black theme, so. Your RGB implementation is going to be somewhat limited by that, but you know, there's ways to go about that. So
yeah,
maybe we'll see an update picture from you.
Yeah, send us an update once you sleeve those cables. That'd be cool. Thanks, Kaito.
Your cable management looks real clean though.
All right.
Thanks for the
submission. Can we get your bottle opener, Paul?
Yes, you can.
That you can buy on paulshardware.net.
This is available
right now.
paulshardware.net.
paulshardware.net.
High quality bottle opener.
Do it now.
Opens all the bottles.
Shameless plug.
It was so easy, so smooth.
Wow. I would have been here all night with my fingers.
Beer tastes better.
Man.
With... Okay.
My confidence has been boosted.
Gabriel Armandares. I'm suffering from priapism now. Thermaltake View 31 tempered glass RGB case, an R5 1600X at 4 gigahertz. EVGA CL 280 CLC. Thermaltake Ring 14 fans, Asus Prime X370 Pro motherboard, and ADATA 128 gig M.2 SSD, Samsung 850 EVO 250 terahash 250th. It says 250th SSD.
Wow. That's a lot of man. What if the prices are so high?
G-Skill RGB memory, EVGA 1080 for the win, Thermaltake Tough Power 750 watt power supply. Okay. Ooh. Here's the night view.
Okay, one of these pictures is doable. All right, so I'm gonna look at the non-RGB one first.
Okay.
Without the LEDs.
That one.
Okay, yeah, I guess we.
Or that one.
Yeah, that one.
Lights off.
Yeah, lights off first.
Okay.
Because you know the LEDs could be anything really. So for starters here, it's a pretty color neutral system with the exception of your graphics card cables. Black and red is what you decide to go with. Even though your ATX cables are just sort of the regular, you know, power supply cables. So that's kind of interesting. I would say match those up if you could. Maybe get an ATX extension as well.
Well, look at all this Thermaltake ring garbage.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Paul and I were just having a discussion right before we went live today that adding RGB into your system just makes things so much more complicated with wiring and stuff and controllers, etc. But it looks like, you know, everything's wired properly. Like your cable management looks pretty good on the business end of things, or on the front end. I would say that the hard drive peeking out in the top right looks kind of distracting.
Yeah, the green PCB definitely stands out there, especially with the light in this particular shot.
Yeah.
Train's really going to ham on the horn there. I also find it interesting. We have a power link here, but we are using the graphics cards in the vertical position.
Which still makes sense, I think.
Which puts the power link on the side. I guess it makes sense. It's a little bit less crowded up top.
Yeah. Less weight, maybe, that it has to yank down on.
So that's interesting to me.
That's true. It is interesting because you see more of the power link, or you just see the power link from a complete, like, 90-degree offset angle than you normally do, and you really notice it a lot more. Instead of the power link sort of blending in with the GPU, it becomes more apparent when it's mounted vertically.
Yeah.
So that is interesting, but it doesn't look bad. I don't think it looks bad.
I would like to see, like, I don't know what your options are here for your cable extensions though, but because they're so visible, because they stand out so much, I like to see a more even swoop. You know, right? They seem a little tweaked and not like they're a little overwrought to me. I feel like those could be redone somehow. I don't know, but that's really what's standing out to me here. Other than that, you know, your night shot here reveals what you probably see most of the time when the lights are off and the system's on. Yeah. That's pretty cool with all the lights in there.
Yeah, it looks nice.
If you like the lit up case,
it's very.
That's a good case for it.
It's lit, fam.
Tempered glass side panel and all. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to add.
Yeah.
Power supply label could be removed, I guess.
Yeah.
Block that out a little bit.
That would be good.
Power supply label. The green. Just put something. You could put a black piece of plastic or I don't know, something that'll handle at least some warm temperature behind the PCB for the hard drive.
Right.
And then maybe remove the label or also do some other aesthetic improvement on your ADATA SSD, your little M.2 SSD there too.
Yeah.
And that would clean things up for you. All right.
Oh God! For some reason, the video that I just posted on YouTube is only buffered at 360p, or it's only at 360p.
Oh, good.
So I'm gonna make it private, and I will upload it in 4K when I get home. That's bizarre. I mean, it literally.
I mean, did you wait for it to render?
Yeah, well, yeah, it uploaded
to process.
It uploaded right when I left from your house. So it should at least be at 1080.
No.
No? You don't think so?
Depending on the length of the video.
Really? It's only a 10-minute video. It's never taken this long though.
It can get stuck at 360 for a while sometimes.
Okay. All right.
I haven't had it occur happen to me too much, but I've heard from several people just on Twitter and stuff like that about YouTube processing sometimes taking too long.
It's definitely taking that long for 4K, but never from like 360 to like even 720.
You didn't render it at 360. Is that what you're worried about? That you rendered it at a lower resolution?
No, I definitely didn't.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely at 4K. So maybe you're right. It's just taking longer than usual. All right, so sorry anyone who was in the middle of watching that video. If it just stopped randomly, that's
shouldn't be watching that video anyway. You should be watching our live show.
Yeah.
This is an experience that you only get to experience once a week.
That's true. Or you can watch, you can multi-stream us and Gamers Nexus if they're still streaming their overclocking, world record breaking, LTT slapping live stream that I heard was going on right now. Subtle plug for that.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, well, yeah, you're just out of the loop then, aren't you?
I am.
Let's move on to Gabriel. No, we just did Gabriel, right? Did we do Gabriel?
Yes.
Yeah. So Hermanson. I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. H.
An i7-4770K, a Master Looking 240 AIO from Cooler Master, 16 gigs of RAM, an Asus Sabertooth Z87 motherboard, a GTX 1050 Ti gaming from MSI, a 550 watt Corsair power supply, 2 terabyte SSHD, the Seagate Fire CUDA.
I don't see those too often.
And the Fractal Design Define C. All right. First look reveals. All right, I was gonna say kill management's looking not too bad. I'm wondering what this loop down here at the bottom sticking out is.
Right.
That's unnecessary.
Excess.
And then there's also a bit extra at the top here. That might be unavoidable due to just making sure you got all your plugs connected for your the Sabertooth. I forget. I feel like there should only be one supplemental CPU connector for that, but I could totally be wrong about that.
Yeah.
You got ketchup and mustard power supply cables, which is always, of course, a no-no for us, or an easy thing to improve. Oh my gosh, this old school Crucial Ballistics memory. I think I have a kit of that still lying around somewhere.
Holy smokes.
I remember that.
DDR3.
It's like yellow, and
matched with nothing.
It's pretty low profile, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, difficult to match.
Definitely doesn't match with like your graphics card. And that's the thing, if you buy one of those MSI gaming cards, that you're kind of stuck with red in your build to some degree. You doing all right, Hero?
Hero's upset about something.
So it's gonna be all right, Hero.
Like, I'm not too sure about.
I know our show's not the most interesting to listen to, but you know, try to have some manners. So yeah, I mean, I would just sort of try to color coordinate that a little bit more if you could.
Actually, it matches with the label on the power supply, but you can't see.
Even though it's shrouded.
But you can't see them both at the same time.
Oh, this Cooler Master AIO is upside down.
It is.
The water block.
So that could be.
Which I'm not sure why.
flips.
Because it actually makes the hosing.
Yeah, it seems like it
further
stretches the hose a little bit. So yeah, rotating that 180 degrees might be a possibility for you.
And if you want to bring it even closer, you could like put the radiator fans on the other side of the radiator.
Yeah, I feel like if you flipped it though, that would give it enough slack that
I do too. Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting choice there.
That's all I got.
That's it. I mean, it looks pretty good other than that. Yeah. Fix that weird cable loop and get some extensions.
He's got EK Vardar fans on that Cooler Master all-in-one.
Rip anyone who has ears. Those things can get loud. And then finally we have an honorable mention. Thank you, Hermanson. Whoever mispronounced your name.
Crafty Duck.
Crafty Duck. I just want to give a shout out to him or her. It looks like a him. Because his PC looks pretty badass. And I thought he deserved an honorable mention. With an Asus Z170 Hero 6700K, which he's overclocked to 4.7 gigahertz. And a Strix GTX 1080 Ti OC. Very nice. And he has a lot of carbon fiber work done in here that he's customized. Everything from the power supply to the actual like motherboard tray that he sort of covered up partially. Looks really nice. Looks pretty well done.
It looks like just a panel that he custom cut and inserted there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's part of the case.
No, definitely not. This is the Dark Base Pro 900.
Yeah.
Dark Base 900 or something like that.
But I like, see, this is a good example of like having all your fans match up and even be positioned in the same orientation.
Exactly, yeah.
Gives a nice clean finish.
Some very nice extensions.
The full desk shot, we gotta appreciate that too. Everything's looking very clean there.
Oh yeah.
And
very nice setup.
And yeah, here's another. I would also like to point out the trend of power supply shrouds being pretty common these days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind seeing this part of a power supply when it's looking like this.
Exactly.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You definitely got to put in a little bit more legwork to make your power supply area look good, but when it does, if you do that, then it looks just as good as any other part of your system.
I agree.
So, good job. Nice going.
Well done, Crafty Duck.
And that concludes Pimp My PC for today. Thank you, everyone who submitted. Let's move on to our next segment, which is Ask the Audience. We'll be asking you guys some questions. You'll be taking some polls, answering honestly, as honest as the internet can be, and Paul and I will guess what you've answered. We'll sort of figure out how well we know you guys, and then whoever gets the furthest away answer to being correct will have to die a horrible death. Or they can just drink some beer if they want to opt for that instead.
That'll be a tough call.
We'll leave it to them.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Indeed. So our first question is about Nvidia's GPP, the infamous GPP.
Which we'll talk about more, right?
We shall.
I actually haven't looked into this that much, at least beyond last week. Yeah. So the recent developments.
Right.
I'm relying on you to...
Yes, we'll be talking more about that on my half of the show, so stay tuned for that. But the first question here is, would you actually boycott NVIDIA GPUs if they moved forward with their GPP, the GeForce Partners Program? That's what it stands for, right?
GeForce Partner Program.
So, yeah, for those of you unfamiliar...
The good old penis profile.
Just in a nutshell, GPP is this program that... Kyle Bennett from HardOCP first sort of wrote an article on before anybody else did, because he talked to some add-in board partners and people like that, and kind of got the idea that NVIDIA was planning this program where select add-in board partners could opt in to be a part of it and would get special treatment in terms of marketing and GPU inventory allocation and a bunch of other things if they aligned their top-of-the-line gaming brands, specifically with NVIDIA. And all AMD cards would have to go under some other subpar brand that wasn't Asus ROG, or Gigabyte Aorus, or MSI Gaming. It had to go under some other sub-brand that wasn't quite as appealing to the mainstream market. So it's very controversial. And so my question is, and I've read like threads and different forum posts about this Are you laughing about the last option there?
Only just read.
That is no one choose that option. It's not.
So,
it's not real.
So it's woke. Is that woke?
Is that woke?
Can I say that? I don't think I've ever actually said woke.
I don't think I have either.
Probably can't be used now. I've killed it.
We've totally, and now no one will ever use it again. Thanks,
Yeah,
Paul. So, I don't know. What do you think about this, Paul? What do you think our audience? Where do you think our audience lies when it comes to the GPP, and how far they're willing to go to show how?
Oh, sorry, Sal.
How much they disapprove of this move from AMD or Nvidia? Sorry.
Sell your new link did it. Apparently, you can't post straw poll links directly in YouTube chat. When did that happen?
What?
I don't know. Cell has Bitwit it for us.
Oh wow,
that's nice.
Jeez.
Thank you, Cell.
YouTube's
I clicked on the most recent Bitly link and I didn't broke the straw poll.
Good lord. All right, thanks for taking care of that, Sal. You can, if you want, you can handle the other poll links as well. That'd be awesome. So, Paul, where do you stand on this? Where do you think our audience stands on this specifically?
Like the spirit will say yes, but the reality will say no.
Yeah,
that's probably where I'm at on that one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's also there. I more details forthcoming, of course, but at least based on what we talked about last week, there was still some question as to how egregious this actually is and what limitations they're actually placing on the vendors they're working with when it comes to other partners, namely AMD Radeon.
Yeah.
So, you know, it could be something that's being blown out of proportion. It could be something that is really seriously like a crappy thing and that hurts consumers and gamers, or it could be somewhere in the middle, and probably got to wait and see a little bit more for what actually happens.
Yeah.
But
TBD.
I like to come from a place of like, just because having an ideal or a principle or something that's like something that's perfect, like, right? Just because we know that's not attainable doesn't mean that shouldn't be something that we strive towards. I'm trying to be deep here. So, point being, I'd like to say that if Nvidia was to do this and it was detrimental to customer experience or the amount of choice we have or the price that we're paying for graphics cards, not that can get much worse, but whatever. I'd like to think that people from the principle would say, no, that's stupid and crappy, and we're gonna, speak with our wallets and whatever. I don't actually see that happening, but
yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably in the same boat. I'm probably still gonna buy Nvidia GPUs.
Okay. Before we see what the audience thought about that one, let's quickly take a look at the next question, and we'll post that. Post that in chat, hopefully, too. What's going on?
Sorry, someone said Kyle joined GPP and all he got was a hoodie because I'm wearing an Nvidia.
Oh yeah, you obviously paid.
You got me.
Paid shill sellout.
Damn
over
it.
here. With his
with
his Nvidia dollar bills.
I can't believe
with his Jensen bucks.
Yeah. You know, if I had the Jensen bucks, I'd be this. This would be made of leather.
Nvidia should start like its own cryptocurrency. Call it
Envy Coin or
Envy Coin. Yeah, oh yeah, that worked.
Oh god,
because you'd be so envious of all the people who have the Envy Coins, right?
Right.
Yeah.
See? Dual meaning. Oh my god.
It's like that club in Vegas. Everyone's so cool there. It's called Envy. I'm so envious.
Envy. We're at Envy.
All the people at Envy.
Oh my god,
I'm so jealous.
That's how I feel.
Okay, sorry.
You just described how I feel about you right now.
We're getting out of tangent.
But I digress.
Point being,
in the words of
what were we talking about? Envy Coin.
Let's talk about,
cryptocurrency.
We can move on to our next question.
Oh yeah, well, so the next question is how often do you shut down your PC?
Yeah, this one's a little bit more low-key.
That one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So everyone vote on that.
Yes.
In the meantime, let's go back to the results here. Would you boycott Nvidia GPUs? I'm gonna girl.
Okay.
No.
Yep.
GPP is messed up, but they make good GPUs.
Wow.
So that's half the voters right there.
Yeah.
51%, actually. Just over half.
Yep.
They have a majority.
That's the realistic choice.
So yeah, that's realistic.
Yeah. But I mean, surprisingly, like a third of people are saying, yeah, they're not gonna stand for it, and they're not gonna support a business that's gonna be anti-consumer if they end up going that route. Which, you know, I feel like the surveys are just surveys, right? And when Volta comes out, it's like, oh my god, and AMD's options are meh. We'll see. We'll do this poll again maybe and see if anything changes. But it's nice to see the enthusiasm and the support, or the anti-support, I should say, for the program. And unlike Paul said, there's a lot of details that still have yet to come to light that could sway our emotions one way or another. So, so you won this one, right?
I didn't really give a straight up answer one way or the other. I kind of.
Okay, then we'll both drink.
I waffled.
All right. we both copped out. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, we didn't do cheers at the beginning of the show.
We'll make up for it now.
Oh no, we didn't drink beer.
No,
not one time.
But every other time in existence.
Okay.
So
how often do you shut down your PC? I feel like, have you asked this before? Maybe I've asked a similar question to this before, but it is a good.
Maybe I have.
It's a good question though. Yeah. Again, here I can't give a direct answer because I have multiple computers.
Right.
And
you have 13 computers in your house.
There's one or two of them that no, I'm sorry. The HTPC always stays on.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because
right now, because it's that's the Plex server is on the HTPC.
Speaking of which, where's the HTPC video, Paul?
I'm doing a video on it.
Oh wow.
This week.
Oh, it sounds like something you said 5 months ago.
I know, but I actually had a good idea for. It's all right.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be awesome. Nice. Yeah, so that stays on all the time.
Okay. Well, what about like your daily driver, like the one that you're on for, you know, most of the time? I know it's hard to figure out which one you're on most of the time, but
this computer, the streaming PC, is like what I'm on when I'm out here working, and like I'll use it to play music or to like capture video.
That's a good one. Like, let's use that one.
If I'm gonna game, it's on Arctic Panther,
right?
Which I haven't really done much of recently, which kind of sucks. But
yeah.
And then if I'm doing like email or like, I guess everything else is on the computer in the computer room.
Right.
So it's a different vibe in there.
Yeah. Very
it's like more of an office, and this is more like a workspace, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but yeah, I do try to shut down most of them because, I don't know, saves a little power, I guess. Which is less of a concern if you're just putting them to sleep, because it's a pretty low power draw anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I usually do. I usually put my system to sleep. I haven't shut it down in like a really long. I'll only shut it down if it like needs to be shut down, like it starts acting out, and then like, you know, have you tried turning it off and on again type of thing.
And the stupid thing is with Windows 10 now, like shutdown isn't shutdown anymore. Shutdown is a soft off, and restart is the only thing that actually does a real restart.
What? What?
Yes.
As of when?
As of Windows 10.
Wait, shutting down your computer doesn't actually shut it down? I've never heard about this.
Yeah, it's. I have to pull up an article on it or something to get into the specifics, but yeah.
Well, I'll be damned. Well, I'm reaching for the power supply switch now.
If
I ever need to shut down my system.
If you want to actually do an actual restart on a Windows 10 computer, you need
people in chat are like,
what?
What?
Yeah, that's true.
Some people like are like, yeah, I knew that.
Thank you, Creo. When fast boot is enabled.
Oh, when fast boot's enabled.
Yeah, because when you shut down, it wants to be able to turn back on really quickly. So one of the things that it did in order to turn on quickly was that restart will actually flush everything and do like a
Gotcha. Well, you learn something new every day.
I mean,
the more you know.
And anyone in chat who's like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell is this?" Same exact reaction for me, and this wasn't necessarily like right when Windows 10 launched. It took a while before I actually found that out.
That's really bizarre.
But anyway.
Well,
okay.
We do boot fast now.
I mean, yeah, booting up quickly is nice. So that's cool.
Indeed. All right. So I guess we can move on to our last question. Or should we skip it because we have a lot of stuff left?
Sorry, what was next?
Let's just skip the last question.
Okay.
Sal, hold off on the last question for Ask the Audience. We'll just jump into the results for
Into the new.
for the straw poll.
Do you have two more? Do you have two more segments left still?
But it's more like news. It's like an extended news.
Okay.
Segment. It's just one segment. It's just
60%. Well, 59% daily shut down their computer when they go to sleep.
Wow, that's more than I thought. That's a lot more than I thought.
A quarter say only when they're AFK for a few days or more. And 16% are with you with the never just ask the half-inch layer of dust that covers the power button.
I'm in the second category myself. Personally.
Yeah.
If I'm going on a weekend trip or something, I'll actually power it down. Other than that, I just go to sleep. Well, but now that now that I know, I'm actually not powering it down. I'm just putting it in some weird, very low-level idle state that isn't.
I mean,
really
it still turns the power off. It's not like it still uses less power to shut down versus sleep, from my understanding.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So this is another one that neither of us really picked a side on, right?
Yeah, not really.
Okay, we both drink.
Cheers. Groovy.
A little something extra.
This
means there's I think there's 2% more alcohol in these beers.
It's like they added a shot to the beer. This is brilliant.
It's like free booze. All right, moving on to our next segment. This is kind of just like an extension of the news segment that we'll be talking about later on. But there was a huge announcement across multiple companies about ray tracing. So this segment is called RTS, not real-time strategy, but ray tracing stuff is what it stands for. Unfortunately, we don't have a lower thirds.
I ran out of time. I was going to make one.
You know, I mean, we're not even Twitch partners yet.
I could try to make one right now.
We're not even Twitch partners, so
Photoshop.
The idea that we would actually make a lower thirds graphic for our show is just so outside the realm of possibility.
I got this.
Or you know, Paul's gonna do it on the fly. Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
I could show everyone too.
Yeah, all right. So while Paul shows you guys his little Photoshop tutorial, little BTS, you get this one for free, guys. You get this one for free. Paul's gonna do a little BTS here. I'm gonna just jump into all this ray tracing stuff, which is coincidentally the name of our segment today.
I have to. Oh, I forgot I did this.
So a couple companies, I think it all started with Microsoft at GDC. They announced that they would be implementing ray tracing support into DirectX 12. And this is huge. This is big news because ray tracing is the technology that we see in Michael Bay movies where they have photorealistic imagery that looks just so good. It looks so good. It looks so good. We want that one. And now we have this sort of window that's been opened to implement this technology into games via real-time ray tracing, which up until now has just been so incredibly taxing on existing GPU architecture. But companies like AMD and Nvidia are aiming to change that now that Microsoft has sort of implemented support for amazing technology that will take the graphical fidelity of gaming as we know it to the next level. It's very exciting stuff.
I'm excited.
I'm super stoked. I mean, this is the quantum leap that we've been waiting for, I think. And obviously it's going to take probably a decade plus for it to really be, refined and finessed and for the architecture, for the technology on the hardware side to really keep up with it. But essentially the way ray tracing works in a very high level sense, and you should probably read this Anantech article for a better understanding, but just really high level, it basically it's a method used to create images by tracing rays or paths of light as they bounce off of an object or several objects and in a scene. And so this creates a photorealistic image with shadows that are correctly cast. Reflections in water are completely pretty much one-to-one with real life.
See?
Everything is, and I think one of these articles has
we got lower thirds now.
Oh, awesome! Beautiful. And you use the same iRobot image or whatever
Yeah.
as whatever was in there before, which was like about AI.
You don't have time to mess with that kind of thing. I gotta get the point across.
But somehow it kind of works because it looks like a really nice graphic there.
Like I imagine that guy's name is Ray. He's probably a robot named Ray.
And he's been traced.
Tracing.
He's tracing his rounds.
As illustrated here.
Yeah, view Ray. I mean, that's Ray's head right there.
Yep.
So I mean, basically this is more lifelike everything. More lifelike scenery, more lifelike smoke, explosion effects, pretty much anything you can imagine. And it all has to sort of do with lighting and just how the lighting is recreated in a 3D rendered image. And it sort of emulates how the human eye works, but in reverse, if that makes sense. Because in real life, you know, a light source, let's say the sun, bounces off of it hits objects first, and then that goes into our eyes, and then we interpret that whatever with the technology in our eyes.
The photons do.
The photons, yes, that's the word I was looking for. But this sort of works in reverse, where the lighting is traced. These paths are traced from the camera angle, from the viewer's eyes, out to the objects, and then bounced off of the objects onto other objects in the environment to create a photorealistic image. Again, read the Anantech article. It does a much better explaining at these things than I do. But the long and short of it is that Microsoft has implemented support for this technology into DirectX 12, which might be like the core technology we've all been waiting for with this new API, with more or less new API. I mean, DirectX 12 was, you know, we've been talking about it for like 4 or 5 years now.
There's some games.
It's been a while since we've talked about DirectX 12, and this could be like the big thing that it needs to really be a game changer, I think. So Microsoft, my computer's shutting down.
Why?
Because I don't have it plugged in.
Why aren't you battery?
Because I forgot the charging cable, and I was going to ask you if I could borrow the one from your Razer Blade.
Charging cable.
And then
it's okay.
And then it's not here. I guess. So while Paul gets that, more BTS stuff. You should just carry like a little webcam so that people can watch, what Paul's doing.
You still haven't returned my extended AC cable for that.
Wait, what? You gave me an extended one? I thought that was mine.
No, you stole it.
I did not steal it. Anyway, DXR is DirectX Ray Tracing, is what Microsoft announced at GDC. And it's a universal sort of standard part of their API where developers can now all integrate this technology into their games.
You stole this part.
I stole that?
Yes.
Like I just took it from you?
Because I let you borrow it.
I haven't seen 2 of those at my office.
I let you borrow it, and I had a one that was longer.
Oh.
You stole it, and I'll never forgive you.
I will send you a new one. Sorry.
Hero, don't step on that stuff.
Thank you for the power.
Lie down there.
Real friends give other friends power.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
More beer, too.
Yes, more beer. So this is really exciting. Nvidia announced that they were on board with their RTX. I think it's RTX. I don't know. Ray tracing, whatever. Their initiative, their effort to bring real-time ray tracing to games, really. It's super exciting. And the other thing is that ray tracing isn't, this whole initiative with DirectX and Nvidia and AMD, it's not trying to replace the existing method of rendering. In fact, it's actually sort of trying to coexist or work very closely alongside traditional rasterization, so that because rasterization is much more efficient, right, than real-time ray tracing. That takes a lot of freaking burden. It taxes the hardware so hard that you can't do that 100% of the time. So the way that they're trying to make this possible with like existing or future GPU architecture is that you're only ray tracing certain parts of a scene that are absolutely necessary, and you're filling the rest of the blanks in with rasterization. So it's kind of like the two go hand in hand, right? You're going to have rasterization and ray tracing working alongside each other in real time so that you get the best of both worlds. Amazing imagery with photorealistic pictures, but not to the point where it's just crushing your system and it can't handle it. So it's actually pretty cool. Now, okay, great. Everything still is up and running. Fuck you, Bing.
That was good.
Yeah.
Hero, why are you upset?
Yeah, it's Nvidia RTX. As I mentioned, anything else that I missed here? AMD announced that they're supporting ray tracing for their ProRender rendering engine and Radeon GPU Profiler 1.2. It's going to be focused on game and graphical development. Radeon ProRender will bring support for mixing real-time ray tracing with traditional rasterization, as I mentioned, for greater computational speed. They're supposed to release there's supposed to be a press release. I thought it was supposed to be today, but maybe it's tomorrow, with more details from AMD specifically on how they plan to implement these changes. So this is all to say that we could be looking at a crucial point in history of graphical quality in PC gaming being taken to the next level, which is super exciting. So that's all I want to say about that. I'm not the best authority to talk about all the ins and outs of the technology, but it's coming, and that's exciting. And I should also mention that Nvidia said that this ray tracing stuff will first be introduced to us.
Exclusive to Nvidia.
Via
Nvidia only.
only Nvidia gets to render pixels. All pixels being
Nvidia has
rendered
claimed photon technology.
But they will only be. They're going to start implementing it with Volta, the Volta architecture. So, but that's not to say that your existing DirectX 12 cards won't be able to handle the real-time ray tracing, but I think it's going to be more optimized for Volta architecture onwards when we're talking about NVIDIA specifically. But your performance mileage will vary based on which architecture you're using as well. So again, more details to follow. Very fun stuff. Let's move on to our news of the day. Starting with this was just a Reddit post that I found in the hardware subreddit. But
Reddit,
it's showing basically the post was saying like, hey, it looks like Nvidia's GPP is already in action, or it's at least taking effect in some very sneaky ways. This was posted by Redditor Evernescence, and he basically is like linking a lot of his findings here and findings from other people in the community that it seems like Gigabyte, MSI, and Asus, when you look at their manufacturer's site or different retailers like Amazon Newegg, have already started this sort of GPP behavior where AMD cards are being stripped of the ROG Strix, the Aorus, the Gaming X branding in various ways. So there's other links here that I've provided and whatnot, where you can see that, like on an Amazon product page, it still says ROG Strix in the titling, but if you look at the packaging and the card itself, there's no branding of that to be seen. It's completely stripped of it.
The Asus, we have the Radeon corner.
Right. Yeah, but there's no ROG, there's no Strix, there's no owl, like the owl with the big eyes and stuff. It's completely gone. They've removed it from all the stickers and logos, which is somewhat suspicious to say the least. And that goes, just the same for MSI on their global website. It's missing the gaming branding for their RX 580s, 570s, and 560s. Gigabyte's website has also removed Aorus branding from AMD cards and ironically switched it to gaming, which is what MSI typically uses. But still, it's not a part of under their Aorus umbrella. So, I mean, and if I were to guess which ad and board partners were to be a part of this program, the first three companies would be these ones: Asus, Gigabyte, and MSI. They're the three top dogs.
The ones that move the most volume.
Exactly.
And also who work with both, with Team Red and Team Green.
Yeah. So, so it's kind of like shit, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. And here's the other sketchy thing is that if this does have anything to do with the GPP, it's kind of sketchy that it's already happening without us having like more raw details about what it is.
Well, this isn't like some things Nvidia does and like big companies do where they want to talk about it and they want to publicize it and they want people to know about it. If they're doing something like this and it's something that the public wouldn't be happy or wouldn't have a positive reaction to, then it's probably something that if they're still going to do it, they're going to do it and try to kind of sweep it under the rug, right? Just do it and have it happen and nobody notices.
Well, yeah. But
if AMD becomes aware of this, which is this is my assumption based on just stuff we've heard about it over the past couple weeks, and the fact that when Kyle on Hard OCP did his article, he said very straightforward, like, AMD approached me with this story, first of all. He didn't think there was enough to it at the time, but he followed up and did more background research by working with different contacts that he has within the industry, and the story that he'd uncovered was such that he felt he had to write the article that he wrote and expose it to, on a larger scale. So if this is happening right now, then maybe it was evidence that AMD saw it happening and tried to bring it to light. But if it's already in the works, by the time AMD hears about it and tips off Kyle, and Kyle does his research, and weeks go by or whatever, then maybe this is the result.
Right.
And definitely seeing graphics cards listed without the word gaming on the graphics card isn't something that you see that often. Like, graphics cards usually have gaming somewhere on the title. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get any public acknowledgement or statements or anything like that from any of these companies, because Nvidia obviously probably is just going to want to ignore it and wait for it to die down and go away. The companies they're working with are probably under contractual obligation not to speak about it. So all you're really going to hear about it is probably this type of thing and us discussing it on shows like this. And we can't even tell you for sure whether this is just people pulling stuff and trying to create a story out of something that already existed and they're just manufacturing something, or this is actually the result of GPP.
Right.
We don't know that for sure.
And it could just boil down to, the fact that Nvidia is just going to keep this under wraps. And even though, like, we'll all be able to infer and figure out, like, what's happening, no company or add-in board partner will ever go on record and be like, yeah, it's actually happening, or ever confirm what's going on. And I feel like that's kind of like, it's an interesting situation, because I feel like everyone who already knows what they're buying, like everyone who knows like tech and hardware in the PC space, they're already going to know what Nvidia and what AMD are offering in terms of their silicon and their GPUs, and whatever branding that Nvidia is trying to sway is not going to really affect the sales much. But at the same time, it's kind of like this unspoken. It's kind of like a secret cult that they're like pulling the strings behind the scenes, and no one's really ever confirmed that it exists. But based on what you see and hear, you kind of can guess. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how much this actually surfaces. Is GPP ever gonna like come out? Are they ever gonna like come out of the closet and be like, yes, we're here, we exist? Or is it just gonna be this forever like speculation where we're just like, it seems like it really does exist, but no one's ever said or confirmed that it does?
Probably not,
right?
Because it's the partner program. It's made for partners of NVIDIA GeForce,
right? And
that's not us or any of you guys.
Which kind of sucks, because it technically has, on paper, it has nothing to do with the consumer, but in reality, it does affect the consumer in many ways, I would think.
Possibly.
So, I don't know. No, I'm not calling Nvidia gay. Stop it, chat. Stop it. Getting off task. Okay. So that's that. Let's put it aside for now and move on to our next article, which is about this is from Anantech. There was a power outage at the Samsung fab, destroyed 3.5%. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but 3.5% of the global NAND flash output for March, for this month alone.
When I first read this, I read it as power outage destroys 3.5% of global NAND flash. Just in general.
You just missed the March part.
Worldwide.
Like, oh Jesus.
It's like any SSD you own is now 3.5% less capacity on it because of this failure. That's just how I read it.
And more than 3.5 more expensive. So there was a 30-minute power outage. This is insane. This just gives you an idea of how massive Samsung's fab here is in Pyongyang-taek, South Korea. A 30-minute power outage halted production and damaged tens of thousands of processed wafers. That's apparently up to 3.5% of the global NAND supply for this month in March, and that potentially might mean higher flash memory pricing in coming weeks. We don't know yet. Hopefully not. It's already high enough as it is. How much is 3.5% of 1 month?
NAND has been slightly more reasonable, and prices have been coming down by a bit. So yeah,
and like, who knows if hopefully it all just continues on and this doesn't get affected. But 3.5% of 1 month's global NAND supply is about anywhere from 50 to 60,000 wafers.
Global NAND supply from Samsung.
Yes,
but Samsung is a big player. So
yeah, they're huge. This is their fab here that we're talking about is actually one of the largest in the world. So
I wonder if it was I'm just curious the vitals as far as like how the power outage affected the wafers. I have to imagine it has something to do with temperature.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, think about it. All these wafers are moving on an assembly line.
Yeah.
And if any part of that process gets disrupted to the point where it's a half-assed job, you can't just like reset it. And
so errors along the entire assembly line.
Right. Yeah. So
like
any of those wafers that were on the assembly line are fucked for the most part. So I mean, the bright side is that Samsung reportedly has a stockpile of NAND chips just on hand, which they can use to fulfill any short-term shipments for the month. Any other commitments?
They've got NAND on hand.
They got NAND on hand. That's their motto. And they've already produced enough Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus units for the next coming months, so that's all good. They don't have to worry about that. So hopefully this is just like a little fluke, and we're not going to see any increased pricing for NAND. Specifically, it was VNAND. It was VNAND flash memory that all these wafers were carrying. And fortunately, the production lines themselves haven't been damaged, and the fabs all back up online. It was just the wafers themselves that were kind of compromised.
So no damage to the machinery.
No damage to the machinery, right? That would have definitely put a damper in things a lot more. Is there any more beer over there?
Yours is right there.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Can I get one of those classic Paul's Hardware openers?
Why, certainly.
That you can get on paulshardware.net. Why, thank you.
Okay.
Moving on.
AnandTech also has told us about AMD and partners slashing prices on select Ryzen and Ryzen Threadripper
How about
CPUs.
some good news, damn it? Prices are falling on select Ryzen CPUs. Everyone rejoice. This is good if, you're looking for a deal. And the reason why these discounts are coming around right now is because Ryzen 2 is on the rise. Pun intended.
No.
I think in April something. In April, we'll be
I think
launching.
all we're at liberty to say is April right now, I think.
Yeah, April. So
but they
next
have
month.
confirmed it's
Next
coming.
month, 2nd Gen Ryzen will be coming to store shelves, and so right now until the end of March, we get some pretty nice discounts on select Ryzen CPUs. This includes just mainstream Ryzen as well as Ryzen Threadripper. So 1950X, for example, is discounted from $999 to $869. There are some, like I said, Ryzen CPUs that just aren't discounted whatsoever, like the Ryzen 5 1600, which is one of their best sellers, if not the best seller in the mainstream platform. So that's not there, but everything else, the entire Ryzen 7 lineup.
$20 discounts on the 6 and 8 cores up here.
Yep.
A $10 or $15 discount on your 4 cores down here.
Mm-hmm. Not on the APUs. Those G SKUs are not eligible.
APUs are new, and
they're new. Yeah, exactly. And they don't really compete too much with the 2nd Gen Ryzen that's coming out next month. But some nice deals if you want to snag something. Get a $20-$30 off of select CPUs. This is something to be that you can take advantage of. This is with participating retailers including Amazon, Newegg, Micro Center, and Fry's. It's kind of unclear at this point whether the campaign is global or only applies to the confirmed countries of the United States, Canada, UK, and France.
I find this to be a reasonable marketing technique because people are aware that Ryzen 2 is coming out. People are in a situation right now where they're like, oh, should I buy now or should I wait? Mm-hmm. This is probably reflective of the price drops that we would see on the Ryzen chips after Ryzen 2 launches anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So making it happen
They're trying
right
to preempt it. Yep.
Cool. All right.
They're smart. They know marketing. And then finally, for today's news, we have an article from Hexus about the smallest VR gaming rig you've ever seen. In fact, it's part of Intel's NUC, which I just learned from this article. I feel really dumb. That it is pronounced NUC and not Nook. I've been calling it Nook for ages. And they're like, no, it's NUC.
It's an acronym, and the pronunciation is
Next Unit Computing.
Is subjective, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, they made it seem very objective. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, Hexus.
Hexus.net is,
God.
I mean, they're based in the UK. They're very
What do they know?
particular about their pronunciation of things.
Mm-hmm, France.
And then sometimes they put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, and it's okay.
Oh, we're not doing Americans any favors right now, but Intel published some close-up photos of the Hades Canyon motherboard. There it is. Beautiful. Very visible. You can see the Core i7 8 SKU G processors. We don't know exactly what kind of Coffee Lake SKU we're getting here, but it's definitely an 8 SKU with some Radeon Vega graphics.
This is the Vega graphics with the HBM stack?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it's got the HBM stack and very prominently seen right there on the PCB. It's going to be able to handle VR, folks. The smallest VR gaming rig that you could possibly get your hands on, coming up in spring of this year. There are 2 models that will be offered with this particular device. We've got the NUC 8 i7 HVK, which is based on an unlocked Core i7 8809G, which is a 4-core 8-thread SKU with a max core clock of 4.2 gigahertz with Radeon RX Vega MGH graphics. And then we have the NUC 8 i7 HNK as opposed to the HVK, which uses an i7 8705G, which is also 4 cores, 8 threads. You get that. It's all the same, but it's 100 megahertz slower at 4.1 gigahertz with Radeon RX Vega MGL graphics. So the graphics chip is different. Slightly slower, slightly different and slower CPU, and those will retail for $940 and $770 US respectively. So upwards of $1,000 for the flagship model, which you know, given the size and you know, based on how well it performs, could be a potential good little VR device, especially if you want to take VR on the go. I think that's what I'm thinking.
Sorry,
this is good.
I'm catching some of the English people I've offended in chat. It's okay.
Oh God, you've got the Brits on your ass now. Shit.
I wasn't being serious.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty exciting stuff. The fact that we're able to push VR with a unit so small, I think it opens the doors in some ways for VR, as opposed to just always having to be at your house or some fixed location. This kind of like allows like the possibility of mobile VR. Like if you wanted to take VR to a friend's house, you could just put this in your pocket. You wouldn't have to haul your entire system or whatever. Maybe get like a flip out, you know, portable monitor or something like that. And I think the lighthouses, if we're talking about the Vive specifically, would be the biggest challenge at that point. Is how do you know, take your lighthouses or your sensors or whatever from your home and install them at your buddy's place. But you know what
your buddy should just have the lighthouses set up already.
If he doesn't, he's not a real buddy, and you should find new friends because he sucks.
Speaking of VR,
we're
going to talk about the HTC Vive Pro over on my half of Awesome Hardware.
We friggin' will. Shit.
I was trying to do a segue.
That was a great segue.
Okay.
So let's move on to our final donations and Johnson so that we can get onto that exciting story about the Vive Pro. Starting with Pup Shepherd, $10. I am unable to watch tonight, but because YOLO, here is money. Join my YouTube if you like human pups. I don't know if I'm into human pups, really. I like pups as pups. I'm very fond of Paul's dog.
2 pups down there.
But if anyone would like to explore what human pups are, you can check out Pup Shepherd's YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Pup, for the donation. Very generous of you, sir. Hope you have a good evening. Des Jones, $5. What are your thoughts on the Galaxy 1070 Ti Hall of Fame? Do you think it would do well on 1440p resolution? Absolutely. It could even handle ultra-wide 1440p, no problem. yeah, I mean, I love my Galax 1070.
Galax,
it's not even a TI.
And the Hall of Fame cards, Galax does a pretty good job with. They overbuild them. They do really good with the power delivery.
Yeah,
so
it's just a shame.
Very solid card.
It's just a shame that you can't find them more. They're not quite as accessible in the U.S.
Yeah.
I had to buy mine from their actual manufacturer website, which I had to pay top dollar for it, and it took like 2 weeks to arrive, but totally worth it if you can do it. Scott Dilbeck, $6.66. Rah! Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it, sir. Paul.
Yes.
How are the dogs? This is from Scott.
Dogs
Kyle.
are good.
Patty's Day drinking game video was hilarious, and the editing was on point. Thank you very much. It took 12 hours to edit, so I'm glad someone noticed.
Damn.
But yeah, it was a fun video. Pighead Deluxe. 100, what is this? SEK? What currency is this? Where is he from? Pighead Deluxe. SEK Singapore? No.
Swedish krona.
Swedish. Sweden.
Which is different from Norwegian krona?
Well, yeah, because it's Swedish. I would think so. They're two different countries. So Swedish krona. I'll take some Swedish krona. In fact, I'll take any of that krona.
Sweden and Norway
Take some Mexican
both
krona.
have krona?
American krona.
Which also sounds like time.
Krona, like Chrono Trigger?
Like Chronos.
Swedish Chrono Trigger? It was a Swedish video game.
Okay, never mind.
Alright, so anyway, thank you very much for the donation, Piggy. Hi, Kyle and Paul. Today is my 26th birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You two are my top 3 YouTubers. Who the fuck is number 1? It's okay. I'm not jealous. I'm listening on my phone every day.
Find him, we'll kill him.
You guys are what keep my work days going. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. Well, thanks, Deluxe. I appreciate the fact that we're your number 2 and 3.
I do too.
Not salty.
I don't mind being number 2. So when you're number 1, everyone's gunning for you.
Yeah, when you're number 2, no one cares. Because you're the first loser.
When you're number 2, you're the shit. How about that, huh?
All right. I like your attitude. I'm gonna employ it. David Olivares for the $15. I have a rig with an FX 6300, 16 gigs of RAM, Asus M599 FX Pro R2.0, GTX 660 Ti times 2, which would indicate SLI. Would you recommend I upgrade to an AMD FX 8350 or perhaps an FX 9590? I don't game much, but I'd like to. I would not upgrade to either of those. I would upgrade to Ryzen. I would swap your system out, your FX 6300 for something like a Ryzen 5 1600. It's not on sale currently, as we just discussed, but it's still a really good bang for the buck value. And that would get you onto the latest architecture that developers are currently optimizing their games around. No developer's like, how do we make this game perform really well on an FX 9590? That's the thing of the past. It's a little bit dated at this point. Your GTX 660 Ti's, I'm sure, are great in SLI, but at the end of the day, I would probably upgrade to something like a GTX 1060 maybe, a 1070. Then again, GPU prices are abhorrent, so if you can find a good deal on any 10 series card, or maybe an RX Vega 56, dare I say, then go for something like that. Good luck on whatever you decide to do. Those are my 2 cents. El Jefe Reviews.
El Jefe.
$5. When will we see a Kyle versus Paul stack attack?
Oh,
that is a great question.
I saw this question earlier, and I should state for the record and to be very clear, Kyle has invited me to do stack attack multiple times now.
I've been diligent.
I think probably like three different times.
Hey, you make me feel like a desperate hoe.
No. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say is it's completely my fault that I have not participated in stack attack. I've watched stack attack. It looks like fun. I'm totally down to participate. Kyle's invited me. I have had to decline on multiple occasions for multiple different reasons. So I'm sorry I haven't participated, but I plan to in the future.
And Wifey Sauce will be very grateful that you do sign on because she's sick and tired of just losing every single episode. So that would be really fun.
To offer you a challenge too.
Yeah, exactly. So that'd be super cool. Looking forward to something like that. We'll make it happen. Thank you very much, El Jefe, for the donation. David Dunham, $10. Hello. Thanks for the great videos. You're
welcome, David.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the support. Matthew Dial, I'm not sure, $5. Hey, Paul, thanks for recommending the Lumberyard to me while I was in California. It was delicious. Is that a restaurant?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Where's the Lumberyard? I've never been to Lumberyard.
It's in Laguna.
Ooh, Laguna.
Yeah, that's where my friend works, and it's like...
Chad?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And
lumberyard now?
It's like, I don't know. It's a higher end restaurant. It's like Laguna. It's a nice area. Like they have an art community.
Oh yeah.
They have an art community, but like if you guys have ever watched oh gosh, why brain fart.
Laguna.
Not
Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No, why am I
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development.
Somehow I knew that's what you were going
Yes,
to.
Arrested Development. In the first 2-3 seasons, they go and they take part in the art festival thing. Which I'm also forgetting the name of.
Like Sundance?
It's like live. It's like live. They recreate
Pageant of the Masters?
Pageant of the Masters. Yes. You're so on top of this. It's awesome.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Pageant of the Masters. Anyway, that's all right down in that same little area.
Yeah.
Lumberyard is a restaurant that's just right there.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not a chain or anything.
I didn't
It's a
realize
nice
it was right
restaurant.
there.
It's very good food.
That's a nice area for sure.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Matthew, for that donation in question. Aiden Retla with the 10 Australian, I believe. Building a new gaming setup in shortly. Motherboard Asus Prime X370 Pro, CPU AMD Ryzen 5 1600X, RAM Kingston 16 gigs, 2x8 gig, HyperX DDR4 2400, and a GPU is Asus GeForce GTX 1060. Should I change anything? Not really.
Yeah, I mean...
It looks pretty solid to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's obviously going to depend on your needs. Are you gaming at 1080 or 4K? With a 1060, I'd say you're good with 1080 or even 1440 to a certain degree. And...
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would want...
6 gigs.
In that...
As long as it's a 1066 gig.
Oh, you get the 1066 gig.
Better frame times.
I could see that build working with a higher end graphics card, but you're probably dealing with the GPU market as a whole right now. So whereas I would look at that and be like, oh, you know, a $400 GTX 1070 would be great.
Yeah.
Like those exist.
So shitty.
But yeah, you got a solid configuration there.
Yeah.
Hayden, thank you. Next up is Wifey Sauce.
Oh, hi, Wifey Sauce. I'm sorry I forgot to text you, and that's what this is about.
Oh.
$5. Honey, are you coming home for dinner or having dinner with Paul?
No. He said he was going to have dinner here.
Yes. I asked Paul who's doing for dinner. He was like, hey, let's hang out. Or he asked me, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. So I'm going to have dinner with Paul. Sorry, honey. You should have dinner with my grandparents, although they probably already had dinner. But you should hang out with them and keep them company. And I love you, and I'll be home soon.
Okay.
But I'm eating with Paul. Thanks for the $5. Appreciate it. Your support is invaluable. Andrew Schweier for the 5 Canadiers. Hey guys, was wondering what type of camera to get for both streaming and content creation. Was thinking of getting into it. We use Paul uses a GH5 now for his primary A-cam. I use GH4, which is the predecessor, and still works just fine. I use mine for...
You can get by with like a G7. What you want is a camera that's like a mirrorless or that kind of thing that you can put a decent lens on that has a clean HDMI out. And Panasonic has several good options for that. There are cheaper solutions, so bear that in mind. What we're using are cameras that cost $1,000 to $1,500 for the body. More than that if you're talking the GH5. And there are... less expensive solutions for that I don't know off the top of my head.
How much is the GH5 body? More than $1,500?
It was like a year ago that I bought it, and I need to look again.
Price. Just get an FS7. It's the most practical.
There's also a GH5S now as well.
Ooh.
On B&H right now...
Oh, okay, about $1,800.
$1,800 is what the GH5 costs.
But you can do 4K at 60 now,
only,
right?
But you can do 4K 60.
That's nice.
It's also got it also doesn't do the 4K crop on the sensor, which is nice too.
Oh, yeah. I hate that.
Yeah, it's annoying because you frame it up. You frame it up on the GH4.
Yeah.
And then it crops the sensor, so you don't get quite as the visual fidelity isn't quite the same. Okay, what's next?
Moving on, we've got one from Automatic Matt for the $10. Thank you for your automatic donation. Hey guys, long time no see. I've been busy studying CCNA. Don't know what that is. So I've had no time to watch the show, but I'll be back to binge watch your channels in 5 weeks, hopefully. Good luck on the CCNAs. Again, not sure what that is, but it sounds like a really hard test.
Cisco Certified Network Associate.
That's what I was going to say next. I'm sure you're going to ace it, Matt. You're a smart guy because you donate to our show, and I have the utmost confidence that you're gonna kill it.
And you'll probably be way better at networking than we are after you're done.
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably even right now. Thanks, man. Good luck. Hope you do well. Guido Salducci with the $5. You guys make me super sad because you didn't hashtag pimp my PC.
Sorry, Guido.
Sorry about that. However, I'm gonna have to rebuild my entire system because my cable management hashtag feels bad, man. Well, good. Then once you've redone your cable management, submit it again, and maybe we'll pick you, and then we can take a look at it. And then we'll make you feel even more like shit.
That sounds reasonable.
Sounds good. Thank you, Guido. Canton Faber, $5. What is the best GPU for programs like SolidWorks? I would say a Quadro or a Fire Pro for something like SolidWorks.
Yeah, typically the
Look at the suggested requirements.
the workstation graphics cards will be a good option for that.
Like 3D modeling specifically with SolidWorks, I would go with a Quadro. I don't know the Quadro model family like I should, so.
But depending on the software, sometimes you can get by with a gaming grade graphics card, which can be less expensive. I can't speak to SolidWorks specifically, but I would definitely try to research and see if there's GPU acceleration available. If SolidWorks takes advantage of CUDA, for example, or OpenCL, in which case you might be able to get by with something that's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. Good luck on that. And then finally, David Oliveras, $5. I don't have much money for a whole new Ryzen rig. I'd love to, though. Thanks for the answer. You are very welcome. And however close you were to building that Ryzen rig, you're now $5 further away from that.
Less closer.
After that donation. But we do appreciate it through and through. So thank you so much, David. And on that note, let's do some Johnson shout-outs to all the people who picked up merchandise.
I have,
from
looks like 8 or 10 Johnsons.
Good Lord, man.
Dylan from Colorado, a Johnson to you for the Heavy Metal Gray t-shirt. Thank you so much for your patronage.
Holy shit.
Brandon from also from Colorado, got the Tri-Blend t-shirt. Thank you so much.
Christopher from Texas, Stay Positive Tri-Blend shirt and a Bitwit Metallic logo shirt.
Jacob from Utah, Johnson for you, got the beer sets, the glass and the opener. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Dylan W, you got a Bitwit Metallic silver logo Heather Charcoal lightweight zipper hoodie. That's a really long name for that product.
That is.
I'm going to talk to John about that.
Todd from Kansas got the Heavy Metal Gray t-shirt and the 15-ounce mug. Thank you, and Johnson to you, Todd.
Brandon, did you have a Brandon?
Brandon's Double Johnson.
Double Johnson, Brandon Wilson, Circle Pine Glass. You. Yeah.
Trevor from Florida, thank you so much for your order. And a Johnson for you, you got the gaming desk mat set.
Nicholas got a BIOS flasher shirt, so Johnson to Nicholas. Nico.
Blake from, I believe that's Massachusetts. M1s always confuse me. Heavy Metal Gray t-shirts, gaming desk mat, and the keycap. Damn, nice order. Thank you, Blake.
Jacob. Bitwit overclocking 15-ounce ceramic mug and a Bitwit Words in a Circle pint glass 20-ounce.
I believe that's a Double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
David from South Carolina, thank you so much for your order. Thumbscrew black. Oh, the lightweight zipper hoodie. Those are new. I'm still getting used to those. Thank you very much, David, and a Johnson for you.
We got a Johnson for Zachary Jones. Picking up a CPU cooler and BIOS flasher full color 15-ounce ceramic mug set. Thank you.
What the hell just happened? Sorry, I clicked on things too quickly.
David. Shout out to David. Bitwit white logo Navy Tri-Blend t-shirt.
Double Johnson.
Double Johnson. Double Johnson.
Brent from Oregon got the thumbscrew keycap and the stainless steel bottle opener.
Johnson. A Double Johnson. Regular online game and mouse man. That's it.
All right, cool.
All right, guys.
We're gonna cut it off.
Thank you so much. We're half done.
Thumbs
We're
up.
about to go to
we're not quite done.
Paul's half of the show, so stick around for that. I'll put a link to that in the description of the YouTube video that you're watching right now. If you're on Twitch, just stay where you are. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this after the fact, timestamps for me would be amazing. Thank you in advance. Whoever does that, I'll pin your comment. And be sure to toss a like on the video as well. Apart from that, guys, see you in a bit.
I'll be right back.